Through a combination of good old-fashioned police work, combing through evidence, talking to people, following up on information, combined with the marvels of DNA technology, we are able to identify and develop probable cause to arrest the suspect. And at this time, I am announcing the arrest of the suspect we believe who is responsible. He is 36-year-old Nathan Sutherland. Sutherland is a licensed practical nurse who was responsible for providing care to the victim during this time the sexual assault occurred. Sutherland is being booked as we speak into the Maricopa County Jail, where he will be charged with 1 count of sexual assault and 1 count of vulnerable adult abuse in connection. Sutherland. Counsel coming up? Good morning, sir. Mr. Sutherland coming up to the podium, please. All the way to the podium. Mr. Sutherland, may I have your full name, please?
Nathan Darcy Sutherland.
And your date of birth?
3/31/1982.
Counsel?
Morning, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Udall Cohen for the state, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Morning, Your Honor. Dave Gregan on behalf of Mr. Sutherland.
And counsel, do you intend to represent Mr. Sutherland through the process or just for today's hearing?
Through the process at this point, Your Honor.
All right, then the court will not appoint an attorney. Mr. Sutherland, you're here on 1 count sex assault, a Class 2 felony, 1 count child or vulnerable adult abuse, a Class 2 felony. The court is not appointing an attorney. Your next court date will be January 30th at 8:30 in the morning in the Superior Court downtown. I do have attorneys here that wish to be heard on release conditions. I'm going to start with the state and then turn to your attorney. Counsel?
Your Honor, thank you. The state is asking for a $500,000 cash bond. The charges in this case are very serious. The defendant sexually assaulted a very vulnerable adult who had no capacity to resist, no capacity to cry out, no capacity to do anything other than be subject to what the defendant did to her. This is a crime that requires mandatory prison, and this is a case where the state will be not resolving it for anything less than mandatory prison. The state would also request that HIV and STI testing be ordered.
I'm not sure that I can order that at this stage, counsel.
Okay. Making that request.
All right. From counsel?
Thank you, Judge. In regards to Mr. Sutherland, Judge, he's been a resident and lived in Arizona since 1993. He is without any prior record, whether it be misdemeanor or felony. He has family here, including younger ones. There is no direct evidence that Mr. Sutherland has committed these acts. I know at this point there is DNA. Mr. Sutherland will have a right and have his own DNA expert as well. We don't know the specifics yet, but the evidence is minimum. He is without prior criminal record. He's employed. He has lived here for a sufficiently long period of time. We would ask you to set an unsecured bond, or in the alternative, a reasonable bond of $10,000 to $50,000.
Thank you. Mr. Sutherland, the court, based on everything I have reviewed and what I've heard this morning, the court is inclined, or is going to order, rather, a cash-only bond of $500,000 with electronic monitoring. If you post this bond, the bracelet will be put on your ankle prior to your release from jail. You will be on house arrest. That means that you may only leave your home during the hours approved by your pretrial officer. Additionally, if you post this bond, sir, you're not to return to the alleged scene of the crime. Do not initiate or have any physical contact with any alleged victim. Do not initiate any contact with any alleged complainant, witness, or arresting officer. Do not possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do not possess or consume any alcohol. Don't drive a vehicle without a valid driver's license, and make sure you provide proof of your local address to the court. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Counsel?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Sutherland, please step to your right so that you can sign for your conditions.
Welcome to Allegedly Speaking TV, and we're back with more commentary, and we are discussing Nathan Sutherland. Nathan Sutherland is 36 years old and a licensed practical nurse, LPN, or was an LPN at Hacienda Healthcare in Arizona. He has been charged with sexual assault against a 29-year-old woman who's been in a vegetative state since she was 2 years old and has now since fathered a baby boy with her. This is a tragic story, being that she's been in that state since she was 2 years old. She gave birth on December 29th, and the staff claimed that they did not know that she was pregnant until she went into labor. The baby boy that she gave birth to is now in the care of her family. However, I have a hard time believing that the staff did not know, because at the end of the day, you have to bathe her, you have to turn her over so that she doesn't get bed sores, all of that stuff. And at this point, the entire system of Hacienda healthcare needs to be brought to its knees. I find it interesting that the CEO a week ago, before they had DNA to prove that this was Nathan Sutherland's baby, decided to step down and resign. Everyone should be held accountable. I read somewhere where they stated that they did not stick by the victim. It's unfortunate that this has happened. It makes you raise your eyebrows to what really goes on, in the care, in the hands of people when you're not looking. It is stated that Nathan is, or a Christian man, a Christian rapper, and seems to live a quiet lifestyle, stating from his neighbors and people who knew of him. They also stated that he had been working there since 2011. He is, as you can see or saw in the video, he was released on $500,000 cash bond, and they will continue to seek charges and to have him put in jail. He's lived in Arizona since 1993. So right now they're stating that that they have DNA evidence, they would believe that his lawyers, Mr. Sutherland's lawyers, will also conduct their own DNA. But this is just heartbreaking. This world is really crazy. I'd like to know your comments. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Let's have some good and healthy debate. And stay tuned for another video. Also, don't forget to hit the like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on your notification bell. And again, we'll be back with more commentary. Thanks for watching.